to the show. My name is Spencer, and I will be your bourgeois host for today's episode of Expat Soup. Once again, we're coming to you live here from Jimmy V's in Yangzhou, China. And I'm sitting here with the homies Leigh and Marzio.
Hey.
And James is left China, so Marzio is a new addition to the...
He's the new Jimmy.
Yeah, he's Mizzy, we'll call him. And our guest today is a Mr. Toni Campana.
Yes, that's right. Hello, everybody.
And he hails from France. And I know that Paris is the fashion capital, so I'm guessing you're from a different part?
Yeah. Well done. Thanks,
where are you from in France?
I'm from Corsica, it's a little island between Italy and France, and so, like little island, we don't dress normally, that's why.
Okay. Is it island in the sense of like beaches and like pina coladas, or what kind of lifestyle do you live there?
It's like that a bit. It's really sunny, always warm. Yeah, a lot of British people come on holidays. A lot of Germans. Yeah.
Right. So we got Leigh's British, Marzio's a British Italian. I'm a American, and we got a Frenchman as our guest. So we're just a cornucopia of privilege here on the podcast today. So you said a lot of British people visit there. Is it? Do you find that they're good tourists? Good tourists?
Yeah, sure.
Respectful and not like Aussie tourists.
Actually, Australia is too far away from Corsica for them to visit.
Yeah, they just go to like Thailand and I don't know.
Southeast Asia. They go to a lot of Southeast Asia.
Cool. So. Anyways, what kind of Frenchman would you say you are? Are you kind of old school? Do you cook a lot, or I don't know? What's in America we have this sort of vision of what is a French person, and I'm sure it's wrong as we usually are. So
first, I'm gender fluid. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, got you. So you're very progressive French.
Yeah. It's coming from US, so we need to be progressive, to be modern, fashionable,
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm quite old-fashioned guy actually, because in my island we are all old-fashioned. It's like it's not Paris. It's like we are far away from everything. Over winter, nobody's there. So,
what's the population of the island?
Like 300,000 people.
Wow. Okay.
Corsica's the name of the island.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I showing my geographical deficiency. I didn't even realize there was. I guess Corsica. I always thought it was Italian. But it's French.
Yeah, it used to belongs to Genoa. Italy didn't exist at this time.
Genoa salami, that's what I...
Genoa is a city. It used to be a kingdom in Italy. Before Italy existed, it used to be Genoa. Before it used to be Pisa.
Okay.
Pisa,
Yeah.
Kingdom of Pisa, then Kingdom of Genoa, and then they sold to France. So it's been 250 years we are French.
How much did they sell it for? Like a bag of spaghetti, or
it was almost nothing. And as France had a big army, so Italian didn't have a choice.
They sold it. Oh yeah, we'll sell it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they sell spaghetti, by the bag, right?
Yeah,
right, Marzio.
That's how you buy spaghetti in bags, right?
Okay.
Wet spaghetti in a bag, right? That's a thing.
So you're a Frenchman, and you sell wine here in China. Did selling cheese in Somalia not work out, or
cheese didn't work out for sure? Okay. They don't.
It's kind of a different sort of work that I've seen someone do here in China. You got your teachers and your engineers, etc. Yeah. But you're a wine salesman.
Yeah. It's something really intellectual to sell wine.
How did you get into that? What did you come here first and then do that? Did you
officially?
What's the timeline?
I'm a big expert in wine. It's been 10 years. I'm going all over chateau in France, wineries and tasting all wines. And I've got so many experience. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. I didn't know whether you were lying or not.
I used to work 7 years in a restaurant in Paris, so I used to sell wine, to drink a lot, of course. And,
were you is a sommelier, is that the right word?
Sommelier, yes. Sommelier.
You kind of tell people what wine they should drink with what food, or is that?
Yeah, of course. Which wine match which food? Yeah.
Okay, so if I had like a hot dog, what pairs well with a hot dog?
Keep drinking
Budweiser.
Yeah.
Budweiser.
A vintage Budweiser.
Yeah. Bud Light, maybe.
Yeah. So you were a sommelier or a wine. You became heavily involved in wine in France.
It's like I was working in restaurant in France, and I was a bit fed up living in France. I needed a new challenge, so I said, okay, I leave France, and I go to China, and I will open a French restaurant. And I arrived in China, and
what year was this, or when was this?
It was almost 5 years ago, 4 years and a half, something. And I arrived in China, and first thing to do, I went to the supermarket, and I wanted to buy a bottle of wine. I said, "Whoa, so expensive French wine here." So I have to think, why is it so expensive? Mm-hmm. So I started to think about the business. How much is a tax? How much is a custom? How much is a transportation? And I thought there was a business to do here. So I changed my plan.
So it went from restaurant to wine industry.
Yeah, to wine dealer. Yeah.
Just because you wanted to drink some wine.
Just because I thought it was less work.
Yeah, starting and operating a restaurant is a lot of work. Selling a product like wine that's already established. People like wine. I mean.
Yeah, it's different. It's completely.
And French wine is I'm guess you're gonna say the best wine.
It is. Yeah. There's so many kinds of French wine.
There's like it's regional, right? Like there's just like the best kind of conditions to grow wine, or how did that happen?
Okay, we're gonna yes. Temperature is really good in Bordeaux, for example, for wine.
Right, I always hear Bordeaux. That's a region.
That's a region. That's a city first, but it's a region also. And then, for example, for American people, there was a disease in the beginning of 20th century. So 80% of grapes were dead in Bordeaux. So it was like a disaster. And so what did they do? They imported grapes from America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And now, actually, it means most of Bordeaux wines
you're welcome.
are a bit American.
Would that be from California, probably?
California, yeah. That's a bit funny. And there's many different regions, of course. There's Burgundy also, Provence, and Champagne, and many different kind of wine. So many, it's like if you compare to South Africa or Australia, they've got good wines also, but it's all the same type of grapes, and we've got plenty of different type of grapes.
So it's the variety that makes it special.
Variety, yeah.
And a lot of the kind of background on wine and why it's good is the story of it. Like maybe there was like a big storm that year, or the vintage, right? The vintage is the year, right?
Vintage is the year, yeah.
Okay, so we've got a Chateau Fond-Merlet from 2011.
2011, yeah.
Is
that a good year?
Yeah.
Actually,
it's always a good year, right?
Yeah, because technology is getting so high, so it's always a good year now. There's no bad week or year. Mm-hmm. So in Bordeaux, it's always a good year because there's never disaster.
And it's a lot of families that have been in the wine industry for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
they've got it down to a science.
Of course, they hereditate and they give to the son the business. They transmit. They give it to the son and so on.
So you got your. This is my limited knowledge. You got your Merlot, your Cabernet Sauvignon.
Pinot
Grigio.
Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio, yeah.
It's Italian.
Oh, it's Italian. Okay, so what would you say is a good beginner wine?
Merlot is the easiest one. Merlot is I think more than 50%, even more, 70% of Bordeaux is Merlot or Merlot mixed.
And Merlot is kind of a drier, not so sweet wine? Or?
It's a bit sweety, but you can't compare with wine you drink abroad because I think they try to adapt to Chinese taste here. But normally for us, this wine is sweet, but it's not so sweet compared to wines you can find here.
Okay, so yeah, in China you found they like it sweeter?
It's really sweeter, yeah. That's I think a lot of Australian wine is sweeter, for example. And the biggest competitors of French wine is Australian now in China. It's a bit of a surprise.
What's that, like yellowtail? Is that Australian?
Yeah, that's
There's a kangaroo on the bottle.
Yeah, I think that's like a bottom tier wine though.
Yeah, I've had it before. It didn't jump out at me.
It's super cheap. It's box wine basically in a bottle.
Speaking of like,
I got a Spanish wine called Casino del Diablo.
Yeah. The Spanish is good also. And actually, the problem is with Spanish and Italian wines is now they do too much volume. Even in Bordeaux, they do too much volume. So they just try to do
quantity
quantity
over.
And quality is collapsing a bit. They're still good bottles, of course, but they just try to export the maximum.
Just flooding the market.
Yeah, and the problem is many foreigners bought vineyards in France and they just export.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. Like, it's becoming a trend for rich Chinese people to buy vineyards everywhere, right?
There's a big story this week which happened in France, and it's like they bought a big vineyard in France and they changed the name to Jade Rabbit.
Jade Rabbit.
It's like Chateau Jade Rabbit, and they sell it. They only export to China. They don't sell it anywhere else. And
it's like red and gold bottle.
And it's a big scandal. It's a big scandal in France because if you change the name of the vineyard, it's like people feel offended, you know.
Yeah.
And
because of the history and
because these vineyards are like hundreds of years old.
Yeah,
right?
more. I think 200 years. Yeah.
Can I try a sip of that?
Yeah. Just a sip.
I'll take it easy. So you wanted to start a restaurant. You found that wine was easier. How did you get your foot in the door? How did you start? What was your first?
What was your business plan?
Yeah.
My business plan.
Are you still figuring that out, or?
No, actually, my first business plan was, okay, it's incredible. They sell this price here. It means there's so many people intermediate.
Middlemen.
Middlemen.
Yeah.
There's so many middlemen.
They buy and sell
themselves.
Yeah,
so the price increased so much. And so I arrived in Jiangsu, and Jiangsu is not Shanghai, so not much competition about wine. And I'm one of the only French selling wine. We are like maybe five people selling wine. And people
in Jiangsu or in China?
In Jiangsu.
Okay.
Must be a boring conference.
five Frenchmen.
5 red teeth mofos.
They're all getting smashed.
So you found that there was not so much competition, right?
Not so much competition, and I knew some people, some friends of my wife. They were selling Chinese alcohol, so it was a bit of the same market.
Chinese white wine.
Baijiu.
Yeah.
And so they say, oh, maybe we can buy you some wine and test with our customer. And I say, okay, we can try with that. And so first I imported wine, but problem is when you import wine from France, you import by container. So it was like 20,000 bottles, and I was like, oh God, I have to sell it.
That's a big jump.
I have to. It's a big jump because I didn't have so much money before coming, and even now, and so, and so it was a big challenge and
a leap of faith.
And my 20,000 bottles arrived, and I was, oh my God, how much will they buy? You know, I don't know, because they told me, okay, we can taste, but how much? You want 2 bottles?
Yeah,
20 bottles?
20,000?
and they took it all.
They took it all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, and so
That was your first deal?
first deal. So in 1 week,
20,000 bottles?
yeah.
Damn.
And so
And who's your distributor? What's his contact? Got an email or Facebook?
And so in 1 week, I had I sold 20,000 bottles, but people were asking me, okay, I want more. Okay, but you need 2 months to make it happen.
I need to
Because
get them from France.
Yeah, it's 1 month on the sea at least, plus 1 month on the custom. And so after I ordered two
And that's got to add to the vintages or the bottles mystique, right? It's been
Yeah.
shipped across the sea. It's from a faraway land.
It's a limited offer. Like, it only lasts until you've sold all of them. Then you have to order them again, and they have to wait.
Yeah, it's risky. It's how the business here. It's you have to take risk. Anyway, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody asks me 2 containers, it disappeared. So you have 40,000 bottles on your hands. But other times, people you didn't know they wanted so much and they buy. So you have to take a bit of risk in China.
Yeah. And like, are you still buying in small amounts, like 1 or 2 containers at a time, or are you buying bigger and bigger amounts because you're trying to expand?
I'm buying like now 10 to 15 a year.
Containers.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So you've expanded the operation. Do you do this out of your house, or do you have an office here, or what?
You imagine just bottles in it.
Yeah, I've got an office and a warehouse.
You just got a bunch of cash and a mattress?
Yeah, of course. No, I have an office in Wuxi. So we moved here because my wife has a family here, and
your wife is Chinese?
yeah, she's Chinese.
And you met her here, not in France?
No,
or?
in Paris.
In Paris.
I met her in Paris randomly, and I met her, and 6 months after we decided to marry, and 3 months later I was in China. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a bit risky, and it's
And she made you think it was all your idea.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, you wanted to come to China, remember?
Yeah, I'm really clever about it.
That's a cool story, though. Are you finding that the Chinese market is... They love their red wine, but are you finding that they just love red wine, or they are becoming more...
Knowledgeable?
Yeah, that's the word I wanted.
Of course, they are becoming more knowledgeable.
As they develop more.
Yeah, as they develop more.
They develop.
And
Well,
example, it's
the
not
east side of China is more developed.
It's not the same market.
I mean, you're not selling it in Xinjiang or something.
I'm selling in Xi'an also.
Okay. I was going to say, yes, I am.
But I've sold actually a funny story. I've sold in Xinjiang over winter. And it was like 5 degrees here, and I sold maybe, it was 100 boxes, like 600 bottles. And it arrived in Xinjiang, and the guy told me, "Come on, it's all frozen." But I didn't
Wine
know.
can freeze?
Yeah, but I didn't know it was minus 15 in Xinjiang.
Okay.
So it was
So there's a lot of things you got to take into consideration when you're shipping it.
yeah.
So was that like a loss of sale, or was that like...
Yeah. Actually, it's not freezing wine, but when you
It changes consistency.
Yeah.
The
exactly.
water in the wine freezes, right? But
Yeah.
not everything freezes.
not everything's freezing, and the taste is not good at all after freezing. So I didn't know that like it was 2 degrees here and minus 15 there. China is like a continent,
Yeah.
It's true. So when you first came to China, was it you said you're an old school type of Frenchman? What was the most strange or the most difficult part of coming over here, or kind of acclimating, getting used to the culture here? Was there anything stand out like that's so different,
Except the bad cheese. Anything
or the lack of cheese?
Yeah.
Everything is different, as me. But what I like is people are old-fashioned also, and they are really interested in culture. They don't want to change their culture. They are proud of it, and like we are proud of our culture, and I felt really well. Of course, communication is difficult. You have to learn Chinese, or you are completely lost. Everybody knows that.
So does your wife help you in that regard, or
No.
she's like, you're on your own?
Yeah, because she speaks at home. She doesn't even speak Putonghua.
She speaks the local
language, and so I had to find first a teacher, but it didn't last more than 3 months when my wife understood she was 20 years old and pretty, so she got really jealous, and I told her, what did you expect? It's not my fault, you know.
So you said that you're proud of French culture and stuff. Everybody has their own kind of idea of what French culture is. What aspects do you really hold dear? What are you proud of?
We are proud of our way of life. Actually, we think people are a lot of Anglo-Saxons are laughing at us because they think we are lazy. It's not about we are lazy.
Isn't all of Western Europe lazy?
Pretty much.
Oh,
it's awesome. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I think we like enjoying life. It's like
you got like 3-hour lunches and stuff.
Yes, 3 hours. No, it's only 1 hour and a half anymore. It's crazy.
So you're losing it.
Yeah,
huh?
we are losing at it. Of course.
Is that what the protests are about? No, we'll get to that later.
Of course. And yes, we are proud of it because, for example, when work is over, it's 5 p.m. Okay, no, we won't stay at office doing
50 hours overtime in 1 week or something.
Pretending to work and being on internet just to please the boss. It's not like that, you know. We go home and or we go to the bar and drink with friends, and
you enjoy life. That's great, and it takes, I think it takes a culture a long time to realize that's important.
Yeah.
America's not there yet, for sure. People are often proud to say, I worked 100 hours overtime this week, and I take my hat off to them because you're working a lot. That's something to be prideful about. But I think we're just at that point in our development as a culture.
We were not born to work. We were not born to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the goal of your life is not working, or you are something stupid, or it's like you are in a society. It's like maybe, I don't know, 2,000 years ago, people were not thinking, oh, I have to work. You know, it's something new. It's like it's at least this new kind of work. Like you don't work for yourself, you work for a company. It's like that's 200 years ago. You capitalism.
You would kill animals to eat, and then that's your day. You're finished, right?
Yeah.
You didn't need to file paperwork or hit deadlines.
Back in the hunter-gatherer days, you're talking like.
Well, I guess.
And even after that, I mean, it's you take care of your necessities, and then you can enjoy time with your family and friends.
Exactly.
And relax after putting in,
You work so you can live instead of living to work.
That's the point. And now all world is getting crazy. I've got friends and they work so much, like in America now, and they always speak about work. They live their work. They speak about it, and they reply. We are going to club. It's midnight. They reply to email. Really, if you this mobile phone, it's like a new chain for workers. It's like they are supposed to work at any time.
No, right, because they got their phone on them, so they're always in the office, so to speak.
They are always in the office. After 5 p.m., I never reply an email. Come on, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's the case in France, like you said, but I feel like the same in Italy, right, Marzio?
Yeah, in London, like a lot of people work on the trains to work. It's
true.
It's like 2-hour commute. So a lot of people are. A lot of people are like on the trains doing emails, and there's like debates about it. Should you get paid to do that? Because even though it's not in work time, you're still doing work.
Of course it is.
Right, it's technically work.
Yeah.
If you're replying to the boss or whoever.
And no Wi-Fi is coming to planes, so it means even
email
in
on planes.
2 hours flight you will have to work.
Yeah.
That used to be the best excuse. Oh, sorry, I was on a plane for 12 hours. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But you get on the plane to China, there's actually Wi-Fi now, isn't there?
Yeah. I find this is why a lot of I'm going to use British as the example, but it happens all over America and other places in Europe that on a Friday and a Saturday night, people go out and drink so much because it's their one chance for freedom, right?
Binge drinking.
Yeah, they drink so much. Once a week, they drink way too much because that's the only chance they have.
Weekend warriors.
Yeah,
is
right.
The term, yeah.
But like with your example, you're drinking a few glasses a day. You don't need that Friday release because you've relaxed all week, right?
It's just a constant release.
Yeah.
But it's a way of life, and it's a way of life, and now we don't want to lose it actually because.
And it's in jeopardy.
Of course.
You said you're already seeing the start of the loss of it with the what was it? You said people are now working more or something.
Yeah, now people are working more. It's like at lunch they take 1 hour or 1 hour.
Oh right, the 1 hour lunch. That's what I was trying to remember.
It's the same in Italy now because since the whole like euro change, we were speaking about this before.
Yeah.
The value of the money's gone down. If something was like 93 cents, you just rounded it up to €1 after changing to it. People have got less money, they have to work more hours, they get less lunches and stuff.
It's like our legal week of work is 35 hours in France. So normally you have to work 35 hours. Of course, in the top office they work more.
And everything functions, yeah? Even though nobody's working overtime and people are having a nice, relaxed life, everything still goes.
Of course, because for
your society didn't collapse. Sorry.
No, because we are quite efficient actually. When you look at stats, we are a French worker is more efficient than a German worker.
Oh wow! I need to see those numbers.
No, but actually, when we are working, we are crazy. It's like during 8 hours, we are working really hard. But after
no jerking off on Facebook.
No. We don't go on internet and so on. But once we are gone, we are gone. It's like we don't live for work. We work for live. It's different.
Mm-hmm. I found something similar in China that people in China, when my colleagues who I work with, they'll have an 8-hour shift to do like 3 things, and it will take those 8 hours. They could do that in an hour, but they make it last. They drag it out for the 8 hours, so they hit that time quota.
Yeah, that's a big difference between China, for example. In China, they think they work a lot, and they work a lot. It's not
time.
a lot.
They have a lot of time.
Exactly.
They don't work a lot.
They work at any time, like from 7 a.m. to midnight.
Yeah.
They are always available. We are not.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Like you can get a lot done in a short amount of time or a little done in a lot amount of time. But if you do the latter, you have more of a social life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the more you do here, the more you're expected to do. Right?
I mean, that's also true. They don't want to work too hard because the boss will see them working too hard and give them more work.
Yeah.
So you do those 3 things in 8 hours.
You're competent?
Yeah. Oh, you did those 3 things? Here are 50,000 more things to do. If you look like busy, that's enough for them.
Of course, they're still lazy French also.
Yeah,
like in any country.
A lazy Frenchman.
Never.
Sorry, I'm not going to make a joke about that. Do you know Pepe Le Pew?
Pepe.
The Disney.
Oh yeah.
Is that
Pepe
racist?
Le
Is that a black mark on the old French culture?
Actually, I think it's really popular in US. In France, it's not Tex Avery.
Not what?
It's not
Tex Avery.
Tex Avery.
Oh, Tex Avery is the
cartoonist.
The guy that does all the cartoons.
I think it's American cartoon.
Yeah.
Like Yosemite Sam or something?
I think he did all of those. I mean.
Like the artist, the guy. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I think it's funny, but it's not so popular in France.
Right, yeah, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure a lot of American things aren't popular there. So you're from France. That's been established. I like to ask people like who their favorite person is or people are from their country, like inventors or whatever. I I googled French inventions and it just took me straight to Pornhub. So I didn't get any. Didn't get any.
Did they invent Pornhub? Is that what you're implying?
No, I just there's sexual people.
Were you searching on Pornhub?
That might have been the. That might have been the
your
problem.
Google search is
French
actually Pornhub.
invention, man. It's doing a lot in US. Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
We invented cinema.
Cinema, right? That's a French word.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry for that horrible joke. Who's your favorite? Who do you like from France? History or modern, whatever.
Many people actually.
I know Pasteur, the guy that pasteurized milk. I know he's French.
Who?
Pasteur. He invented
He made-
pasteurization
To make
for milk.
safe. Yeah.
Pasteur.
I'm a big milk
Pasteur,
fan.
Yeah.
But anyways, who do you like?
Uh,
I love cereal.
I like Napoleon, for example. Sorry about that, Leigh.
No. He was very popular in the UK at the time.
Yeah.
It's like surprising fact. Like he was the common people in the UK loved Napoleon, but like the higher ups didn't like him.
When I arrived in England and I saw in London the station was Waterloo, I said, "What's wrong, guys? It's not normal." No, I like Napoleon. He made a lot, not only wars. He made a lot of civil things, civil codes, civil laws, and many interesting things. I like also all our literature, like of course Voltaire.
Is Dumas? Is he French?
Yeah, Alexandre Dumas.
He's a great,
Yeah, he's
a titan of literature.
I've got 10 inventions you didn't know were French. The hairdryer.
hairdryer.
The hairdryer.
Perfume. No?
The French kiss.
French kiss.
That's a good one.
The French fry.
Canned food.
Canned food. Oh.
Freedom fries.
Freedom.
Tony, for our listeners, Tony just puked. So Napoleon, the literary giants.
Yeah, a lot. I think our best thing was literature. That's how our friends became so famous, because we have a lot of good writers.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that I'm not well versed in the French language, so I've never read anything in French, but I'm sure a lot of after translation, a lot of the beauty is lost.
Yeah, I think so.
French is it's obviously one of the romance languages, so it's...
Are you saying English is not a romantic language?
Well...
But for example, I prefer
you could say
Shakespeare.
do you speak English or parlez-vous français?
Oh,
I mean, you be the judge. And no, I don't.
How do you feel about former kings and queens of France, and like how are you with that situation?
We go into the War of the
That's
Roses.
Good question actually, because sorry Spencer, you didn't do it, but he makes good question.
Was it, I know about kings and queens. He doesn't really
that's,
understand the concept.
I think all our history, modern history, republic history is talking about beheading our king, and it's a bit crazy because we didn't have to behead him. We didn't have to throw away all the bones of all our kings for 1,000 years. It's like they burn all the cemeteries and everything, like to kill all the history.
Yeah.
It was and now it's like we are 250 years more in a republic, and we see the limit now, and people are thinking a bit more. And is republic really better than monarchy? We are not so sure about it now, because things are not a lot better in this moment.
So 250 years as a republic?
Yeah, after revolution.
Okay.
Or a bit less. Yeah.
And
So, like, you would say that some French people maybe regret their actions of their ancestors and former French people.
People are thinking a lot about it now. There's few people who regret the king, but not so much, of course. But they think of new
system.
new system, like better than Republic, and like we did like more than 1,000 years of monarchy, and there was a lot made. Like for example, the greatest France, the biggest France was under a king, Louis XIV. Yeah, like he was the richest guy in the world.
You said the biggest France?
Yeah, like the greatest France, like the most powerful
And
France.
Louis XIV was in which years?
It was in the 18th century, just
Okay.
before Revolution, like 50 years before.
Okay.
So are some of these kings and queens are still remembered well? Like you don't hate all kings and queens of France. Some of them still have positive
Yeah.
emotions. as
Yeah,
well,
of
right?
course.
Yeah.
Louis XI, Louis XIII is good. Louis XIV, of course, and yeah.
All the Louis,
oh.
all the great Louis.
Henry IV.
Okay, yeah,
Of
Henry
course.
IV. Yeah.
Is this true? It says Louis XIV was king for 20 minutes. It's Wikipedia.
Louis XV. Louis XV.
Oh, 15.
No,
No, here it says. Oh no, 19. Sorry.
19. Oh,
My
okay.
Roman numerals are not.
There's too many Louis. Why are they all
Yeah,
Louis?
why are they all Louis? Isn't the newest one of what's his William's kid? Isn't that a Louis?
Who's
Yeah,
that?
Prince William.
Just a popular name?
Didn't Prince William just have a Louis as a baby?
I'll look it up.
Mazio, get that up on the screen.
Make that bigger?
In British royal family, it's always been the same family.
No, I mean we had the Tudors, the Windsors now.
It's the same.
Yeah, we've had different families in the past. What's the other ones? The Tudors. Who were after Tudors? Stuarts.
Victoria?
And well, the
Oh, yeah, it's the Wizards.
yeah, good job. Good job.
Great English guy.
So are you into history? You're a history buff?
No, not so much, but I'm interested. Of course, it's
But
important.
you know French history pretty
yeah,
well.
I'm interested in French. It's
And when was France first France? When was it first?
Like the
We
first
see-
union.
Was
of-
this like 1100s or am I way off?
We say it's like it's
'Cause you were
beginning from
unified-
Clovis.
Yeah.
It was like the. I don't want to make mistake, but maybe the 5th century, I would say.
Okay, so way
it's been
I
a
was
while
way
now.
off.
Because they were unified by the time the Vikings were going over to what is now England. It wasn't England then.
Was France? Were French people the Gauls? Is that wrong?
The Gauls.
Gaul? I think that's
Were
yeah.
the Gauls
I
French?
think it's Germanic, but yeah, but
It was just kind of all one blob.
The Gaulois, yeah. Yeah, the country was called Gaul,
Okay.
and people Gaulois.
So yeah, French culture and people they get ragged on a lot for being
pretentious.
well, not pretentious, but just
No, I'm
like
just saying that.
Proud, I think, yeah.
Yeah, proud,
they
yeah.
do get a bad rap for whatever reason. Every
lots of
country
jokes, yeah.
gets a bad rap, but there's the white flag or surrendering. But in my opinion, I think there's so many interesting and great things about French culture. Like we already talked about the lifestyle and the history of a country really makes it what it is, obviously. And,
Yeah, but white flag, I know this story, but it's about Second World War.
Yeah.
Before it was not white flag.
right,
We fought
that's just the
everywhere,
most
you know.
recent thing
Yeah.
that people
That's
can poke fun
important.
at
I think it's
without looking at the bigger picture.
it's one because it's such a country with such a history and such a great culture that everyone
People are
kinda-
jealous, right?
and well, maybe not a jealousy thing, but certainly like it's okay to mock them because they have so much else good. Like you can make fun of the popular person because it's not
I
going
mean,
to hurt them in any way.
they dress well, they eat well, they drink well, they live well.
They love
What I mean, they love extra well. That was the Pornhub joke. Did not land. But anyways, let's shoot forward to modern times. For people that have no idea, the yellow vest movement is still alive and well. It's still happening. Did it stop?
It happened again last Saturday. It's been more
Still
than
going.
more than 100 days now, And
what did that come from?
Why is it?
There was like a gas tax, but it became more than that.
Actually, it's really people. Yeah, to sum it up, it was a tax raise about gas, and people say, okay.
It was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the last small thing.
Yeah. They say, okay, it's enough. Come on. But it's like in France, we are looking at each other for 30 years, and once we drink a bit, and we always come to the point, okay, we need a new revolution.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like
it's fun.
It's like I hear that.
Gotta mix it up.
It's like I heard that so many times, and we are fed up.
When the government keeps ramming you, at some point it's got to explode. Yeah. If they keep lighting a fire under your butt, you're gonna jump up. And people in America protest, but it's not like people from countries with longer history.
I mean, France invented the revolution, so
right. I mean, so I think it's. I don't know all the details about it. I don't know, which side is good or bad, but I know that French people are not afraid to, stand up for what they believe in, which is in 2019. It's hard to find in the modern, civilized, industrialized world.
Just to come back to history, to make a link, in 1870 we had a big revolt, big riots in France. It was called La Commune. And like in China, for example, they say French Revolution is a bourgeoisie revolution. Mm-hmm. It's a fake
middle class.
It's a fake revolution. And the real French Revolution was in 1870. They say in French book. They call it the French Communist Revolution, the first in history. And it was like workers. They really fought against army. There were 30,000 people dead. 30,000 in Paris, more than in French Revolution. So it was.
So it's ingrained in your blood, literally.
Yeah, and it comes to the point where what's happening now is also it's the same as in 1870. And in 1870 there was so many dead because people were allowed to have weapons. And after this revolt, weapons were forbidden.
Banned.
Yeah. So really now government is really lucky. There's no it's banned.
Yeah.
Because there was the second weekend in Paris, there were maybe 40,000 people without any weapons, and police were running away. People were so angry. They were
because the police are outnumbered.
Not only
in some places.
No, they were. I think they were outnumbered, and also they didn't think how much people were angry. It was like there was a boxer arrested. It was like without any weapons. He was fighting cops with sticks and alone, against four guys.
So just for people that have no idea about the French protests and the yellow vest movement, correct me if I'm wrong, but it started with a small raise in taxes on gas, and people in that industry, that sector, didn't agree with it. They started protesting, and then it formed into a bigger protest fighting several different things. Is that right?
And it's also because France is getting poorer and poorer for at least 30 years. We used to be a really, really great country, as I was explaining before. We used to be a rich, really rich country, and now I think all Europe is getting poorer, and so people, it's like this sold European Union to the people, and a new world order, like something better, less unemployment, and so on, and it doesn't happen. It's like there's a big gap.
So it's been building for years.
It's been building for years, yeah. People are fed up. And that's the point we say, okay, it's been 30 years we are talking about doing revolution, let's do it.
Okay. Everything from everyone from a small shop owner to a truck driver.
Well, the truck drivers famously closed down the highways, right? They just got out of the trucks and just walked away, right?
They did it, and it's like we used to have politics. They made like 20 years career in France and talking to people in the street and so on. They knew the country. Now this new president, he doesn't know anything on the country.
This is Macron.
It's like in 1 year, he got all the newspaper behind him, all the TV and so on, and he was elected president. He's 40 years old. He doesn't know anything about the countryside. He doesn't know anything about people.
It was a kind of a facade.
Yeah, and he was so, as he doesn't know the country, he was so arrogant. He was talking to people like he didn't understand. I think he was people.
He's not a commoner.
No, it's like he didn't understand why people were so angry, and people were angry, and he said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a pay raise of 40 euros." No, we are not.
It's not about money.
No, it's not about money. It's not like 10 people died, 20 people lost their eyes, 15 their hands, 2,000 people badly injured.
This is in the protest?
This in the protest. Nothing like that in 50 years in France. And they didn't do that for 40 years.
So this was, you said it's been building. Was it building before Macron?
Yeah, of course.
And then Macron lit the match with his policy, or?
Exactly. It's not only his policies, his arrogance. We can stand it like the poor people don't like it. At least they are poor, but respect them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the people who are demonstrating. He was saying, "Okay, it's fascist. Okay, it's anarchist. No, it's just poor people who can't eat."
What do you say to people who say these French people are destroying cultural relics and they're destroying their historical monuments and stuff?
We can speak about it like it's what happened in l'Arc de Triomphe this monument in Paris, and it was showed by all the TV. But what was broken was a reproduction, a copy of all the statue. Actually, the statue broken we saw on the TV.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not a real one. You put it's not a museum.
It was a copy.
It's a copy, of course. It's something from the 19th century.
Okay.
It's not something like 500 years ago.
Yeah.
It's and it's like they broke this statue. It's a big. People are not eating. People are poor. People can feed their kids. And if they eat the statue, okay, it's not a big deal.
So it was more of a symbol. The breaking of the copy is a symbol, not an actual.
Yeah, but what happened later is there was people, of course, doing breaking things, breaking stores and so on.
Yeah.
And we think it's a bit weird because police didn't arrest them.
Yeah.
It's like it's okay for TV to have this picture. So they say all people demonstrating are rioters, are dangerous.
Yeah.
They lump everybody together in the same group. It's a media tactic, right?
Of course, it's a media.
Yeah, America has similar issues. They have people protesting, and then rioters jump in.
And a lot of it is just a total farce. It's actual people that say they want to discredit the protesters. So they. This is a proven thing that's like an army. I forgot if it's army or which group, CIA maybe. They
pay people to.
They pay people to disrupt and do bad things to make everybody else look bad.
Yeah.
I think it's a point in France now. We have no proof.
The London riots. Yeah. The London riots we had in 2010, 2011. It was about some young black kid that got killed, I believe. I can't remember exactly, by the police. I can't remember the exact facts, but anyway, the London riots started because of a protest about this little black kid that had been killed, and then people just like use it as an excuse to smash windows and break into shops, steal TVs, and yeah.
And as far as breaking the copy of the monument or statue, I mean, you gotta break. If you want to make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs.
Of course.
Is omelet? Is that French?
Yeah, we have the same. If you want to do an omelet.
Just the word omelet.
Omelet is French, of course.
There's a lot of really great French words that we use in English, and
sabotage,
rendezvous,
espionage, that's
buffet. They just call that a kiss there.
Statue of Liberty also.
Yes, thank you. We're still waiting on the husband. The male statue.
She don't need no man.
She's free.
That's a question I want to ask. The Eiffel Tower. What is why is that?
It's so ugly, man.
It is so ugly. I never got the attraction of the Eiffel Tower.
There was a big author, like his name was Maupassant. Maybe you know him. He said, "I'm going to it almost every day to Eiffel Tower." Some people ask, "Why? Why are you going to it there?" Because it's the only place in Paris I can't see it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
I don't know why people are so passionate about it.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like I saw some old photos from like maybe 100 years ago or so. They used to advertise on the side of the Eiffel Tower, like just put like posters up with advertisements for just local shops and businesses. And then people, I guess in Paris, thought, no, this is a tourist attraction. We need to take away all of these advertisements so people can see its real beauty. But it's just a piece of metal. It's not.
And it was not supposed to stay, you know.
Really?
After the 19. Maybe you have something on internet.
1889.
1899. Yeah.
1889.
89. Yeah. It was supposed to be
Just like a temporary.
Yeah, it was
few
temporary,
years.
yeah.
It cost 7,799,401 gold francs and 31 cents.
That's a lot of money
Yeah.
in those days. Francs,
Which
like
today is equal to about 36 million, nearly $37 million.
why? Why though?
Yeah, I think it's a bit weird actually in Paris.
It must get a
because
lot of more money than that though.
It
Like
doesn't match with other. Paris is so beautiful, and that's not the most beautiful thing. It's like London Eye in London. I'm sorry, guys.
nobody wants to look at the London Eye. I feel like being on the London Eye is okay. And Big Ben is quite nice. Like
London
the
Eye-
House of
Big
Parliament
Ben's
is quite
nice.
nice. Yeah,
The London Eye is basically a Ferris wheel?
Yeah,
it's a huge
giant.
Ferris wheel.
Huge
yeah.
Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
With like individual compartments.
Yeah, you get like 20, 25 people per
Oh.
compartment.
Or you can get a VIP.
Can you have a
one as
little
well.
party in there?
Oh, I mean, well, some people do.
That's cool.
You get lots of like proposals and stuff going on in there as well.
So the French and British have kind of a tumultuous history. Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so.
A little bit, yeah.
So
We
fight.
had a war called the 100-Year War.
the War of the Roses also, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. See if you guys would.
But
start-
actually, I think we are big competitors, and it's good. Yeah, we don't.
it
we
makes
don't
it
hate
makes
each
both
other.
countries better, right?
It's
Yeah,
friendly
of course.
rivalry.
Competition,
That's what it
yeah.
is.
Of course.
It's like brothers. Like
Yeah.
they might hate each other in public, but they love each other in secret.
It's easy to poke fun at each other.
Yeah.
We have the Eiffel Tower. We have Brexit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have Descartes. You have that like hippie guy. What's his name?
Russell Brand.
No. English philosopher. He really loved Eastern.
Oh, Alan Watts.
Alan Watts. Yeah. Sorry, that was a bad reference. But you into philosophy at all? Do you like?
Yeah, but-
Descartes French, right?
Yeah, Descartes is French.
Sounds
yeah.
French.
I like Descartes.
Sounds like a dessert.
It's like about Descartes. He said like cogito ergo
ergo sum.
sum. Yeah, you speak a bit Latin in America also.
Yeah.
So it's like today you have to believe everything coming from the media, and nobody talks about cogito ergo sum. It's our philosophy.
Think therefore I am. He was a handsome fellow too. Had a mullet.
It's basically Toni with long hair.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the French people have given so much to the world: philosophy, food, wine, love. It's great.
The Etch-a-Sketch.
The
The Etch-a-Sketch.
hair
Is that
dryers,
French?
canned food.
Apparently so. French invention.
Okay.
Supermarket also. Thanks, guys. First supermarket is French.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The triathlon.
They figured, let's put all this stuff in the same place.
Yeah. All of these markets, just one.
Yeah.
It could be called a supermarket.
Did you bring this wine that we are deliciously... And how would you describe the flavor of this wine? As a wine connoisseur, which I'm sure you are.
We're not.
A lot of people use a lot of words to describe the wine, like fruits and like woody and like. Although, how would you describe this wine?
We're not pretentious enough here. We need to get more into.
To me, it just tastes like red wine. So, like, what would you use to describe this?
And for me, there's one thing you can know about quality of wine is the longer it stays in your mouth, the better is the wine normally. It's like sometimes you can drink a really sweet wine. Oh, it's good, and after 2 seconds, nothing left in your mouth.
Swallow it and it's gone.
Yeah, and you call it Kodali. It's like the number of seconds it stays in your mouth. This wine is a bit bitter, and also the first taste is sweet. The second is
smooth.
bitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's smooth. Yeah, also.
I'm not a wine connoisseur, but is that another French word? Connoisseur?
Wine, no.
Yeah. I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I can tell the difference between a cheap wine usually and like a expensive wine. It's just easier to drink. You drink a really cheap wine and you're like, yeah. But you drink a really nice wine and it just goes right down. It feels natural. It feels smooth.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. And it's you don't drink it like a soda, you drinking.
You should taste it.
Yeah, slowly, and you drinking it slowly.
Maybe smell it.
And you don't think, and you realize it's empty. That's the point.
Where'd my wine go?
When you're aging a wine, you're supposed to take like so much out, aren't you, every so often? So like the top bit becomes, I don't know. We had a vineyard, maybe like when I was 14, and we had to like pick all the grapes, and we had to like separate the grape skins, and you make another alcohol out of that. But with that wine, every so many months, you would have to take like the top layer of wine out of what we had.
Out of the barrel?
Yeah, because apparently it can become poisonous. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That sounds scary. Poisonous.
But it was even worse before when they used to crush wine, to crush grapes with foot,
Oh yeah, barefoot.
Walking on it, yeah.
We did that.
What would you eat with this wine?
I would eat beef.
Just beef. Okay.
Beef.
Any kind of beef, a steak, or does it?
A steak, basically. I wouldn't eat lamb because it's not strong enough to eat. You need a wine to match and not overwhelmed the taste of the meat. The same level of taste.
So the flavor has to be as strong as each other.
Exactly.
I see. So if I was having lamb, what would you suggest, for example?
A stronger wine, maybe a wine from Corsica, from my hometown, or something from maybe some strong Provence also, red Provence from Bandol. Maybe Burgundy, but not Bordeaux. With lamb, not Bordeaux.
Okay. What's your drink of choice?
I love Burgundy.
Yeah.
It's really something different. The quality is always the best. There's no bad Burgundy wine. There's bad Bordeaux.
Is Burgundy French? Was that already established?
Yeah, it's a region.
But the alcohol it's stronger than wine, right? It's like I'm not really well versed in Burgundy, but it's a liqueur.
You're thinking brandy?
You mean cognac?
Sorry.
Brandy and Burgundy, honestly.
But
they're different words.
We do cognac also, but it's not there.
Cognac.
Yeah.
It's French. Yeah.
It's really popular in China.
Okay.
That's a city, right? Cognac?
Yeah, it's a city also.
Burgundy. Oh, I'm thinking of the color.
The color you're wearing now.
Yeah, you are actually wearing burgundy.
Yeah, so you're welcome for bringing it up. It's already in your mind. Sorry, brandy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Idiot.
Yeah.
Idiot. Is that a French word?
It is idiot.
Saved myself. Ooh. That would have been embarrassing if this was like recorded or something.
Actually, for us, it's easy to speak English because many words are close, but the pronunciation is completely different.
Yeah.
I can read really easily English, but my pronunciation is crap because it's like business,
But it's interesting. It's an interesting
How do you say sabotage?
sabotage.
Sabotage.
Oh, you say as a French.
Yeah.
So,
We do the zh. We don't say
Same with
sabotage.
espionage.
sabotage,
Yeah.
espionnage. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you say rendezvous?
Rendezvous.
Oh, rendezvous.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only French word I know is ho ho ho.
How many tenses do you have in verb? How many verb tenses do you have in French?
Well, a dozen, I think.
Wow.
Well, yeah,
know what
grammar is
Yeah,
crazy.
I remember studying French. The worst thing for me was learning how to say the number 99. You say 4 20s, 10 and 9, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
99. 4 by 20 plus 10 plus 9.
Wait, how do you say 99 in French though?
99.
Well, that's like 5 syllables. for
Right?
One number.
You're saying 5 numbers.
Yeah, it's really
I thought you guys were like a relaxed society.
I don't know who did that.
That's why everybody wants to relax because
They're too tired
Too
from
many
talking.
syllables.
Yeah, like just counting is tiring.
In Italian, we have 21 tenses, and then they can change from singular to plural, and then from first person to third person for every singular or plural.
But French, Italian, Spanish, you guys can just all talk to each other, right?
Portuguese as well.
No, not so easy. No, it's
Not so, but a little bit, no.
We understand.
Some
but
of them, I think. I
you're-
remember being in Italy with a Spaniard, and he managed to.
yeah, Italian and Spanish are closer
Yeah.
than French. Yeah.
Stopped again.
But yeah, with French, French is just by learning it in school. I can see the differences in the languages.
I'd say out of Spanish, French, and Italian, I think French would be the most difficult to learn, right?
Yeah, French is more difficult. Yeah, for sure. Spanish is difficult also, but French is if you
Spanish
really
may
want
be
to
closer
speak
to English.
you think so?
They're both similar, I'd say.
I don't
to
know.
English.
We have more French words in English than Spanish words in English.
True.
So you've got a little bit of a bonus there. Like he was saying, he knows some English words because they are French words.
Right.
Television
There's so
also
many.
is like a French word, I think. Television.
Television.
Well, the thing with
there's
television,
just-
it comes from. It's a lot of people hate this word in like linguistics because it comes from Greek and Latin. Like tele and vision are from different, and people don't like it when they.
Yeah,
mix.
a lot of them are just
Linguistic
mixed.
nerds are like they hate that television.
Noam Chomsky's pissed.
Yeah. Sorry, I killed it. I killed the talking.
But yeah, there are so many. What's it called? False cognates? No, cognates. It's the same. They're just the same meaning, just a different pronunciation.
Cardinals.
Pronunciation.
Prononciation.
Assistance.
You drink enough wine, you can start speaking French.
Yeah. Bad English equals good French.
Just slurring your words. It's like, are you French?
I need assistance.
Exactly. So you've been in China for how many years?
Almost 5 now.
Almost 5. So you say, which stage are you in of China? You like comfortable? You still annoyed at things?
Do you get surprised by anything still?
You've been in Yangzhou the whole time?
No, I've been in Wuxi first, and then in Yangzhou.
Oh, right. You moved to Yangzhou from Wuxi.
I think I'm more and more comfortable, of course. First 2 years are difficult.
You have a daughter?
Yeah,
Right?
I've got a daughter.
She's what, 4? 3?
Almost 4, yeah, now.
And what's that like for someone who's not from here to have a daughter in a different country? Is that difficult, fun, interesting, every day's a learning experience?
Yeah, it's funny because my daughter looks completely French. She's mixed race. Huh?
She wears a beret.
Yeah, she wears a beret.
Yellow jacket and beret.
And the baguette. And the,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, of
Some garlic around the neck.
She's 3, so she's bilingual now.
Trilingual, maybe?
Almost.
Does she? Do you? I guess you speak French and with her, right?
Yeah,
and
French and
she
Chinese.
learns Chinese.
Yeah. But she speaks better Chinese than French. Of course, she's living here.
She goes to the school.
Immersion.
Yeah.
How do you like regulate that? How to teach her like English, French, and Chinese?
Does she know English? Do you speak English with her?
No, she takes courses, of course. At 3 years old, she takes courses, guys.
She's been going to school for 4 years.
It's completely normal
Your
now to take
pregnant wife
English
is-
courses at 3,
Yeah.
you know?
Your wife's pregnant in an English class, just like
learn it. Yeah, that's funny. She speaks really good Chinese, French a little bit less for the only reason, you know, women scientifically they say 3 times more words than men, you know, in a day. So of course that's why we say mother tongue. That's it. And English she understands, but she.
I mean, she's only 3. We can give her a break. Like, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I think it's too much. Come on, it's too much.
So yeah, the education system here in China has got to be totally different from French.
Yeah, of course.
So what do you do to like mitigate the onslaught of education that the Chinese people seem to enjoy?
I think it's getting better. I mean better. It's getting less pressure on China education than it used to be. Because my wife told me when she was in high school, she used to have only half a day break a week.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, and because she had extra courses and so on, and she was going at school at 7 a.m. and leaving school at 9 p.m. How possible is that? You know, like 14 hours at school a day.
Well, it's the same for the modern student. I mean, they go to school at 6, 7 a.m. and they leave at 10 p.m.
Really?
or
High,
just
high school.
yeah.
High school.
They even have to lie to the government sometimes about what time they go to school. Like people come in and ask them.
And I would think as a Chinese parent, it's normal. It's like, okay, you got.
I did it. My grandfather did it. You're
everybody
gonna do
done
it.
But as a foreigner, somebody who's from a totally different education system, it's got to be a total just mind f.
Yeah, it's difficult for us. In France, it's not so much, of course.
Everybody's just smoking cigarettes and drinking wine in math class.
I had a sport teacher. You know, he used to smoke and say, "Hey, run faster!" You know,
That's a different generation, though.
it's not possible anymore.
Do you ever do any of the day-to-day things with your daughter, like picking her up from school or anything like that?
Every day I pick her up.
And what is that like with you interacting with just Chinese parents and Chinese teachers? Do they look at you in surprise that you're picking up who looks like, I'm guessing she looks very Chinese?
No, she looks like really French, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's really surprising because people always talk to her in English in the street. And she doesn't that much, you know.
Parlez-vous français? So do you get any of these kind of shocked reactions or anything like that when you go to pick up your daughter? Or
Actually, I think school I mean it's kindergarten, huh? But it's good. They are fun. They are happy. Okay, it's from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a bit long. 5 days a week for 3 years old. It's a bit long.
it's a job.
but still, I think school is for kindergarten. It's okay. I think.
Yeah.
And cultural, there's not. Yeah, maybe problem is, you know, when I was thinking about bringing my daughter to school and picking her up from school, I was thinking, okay, when my wife is not here, I'm gonna look at other moms, you know. So I'm still French, but you know, in China it's only grandparents picking up kids.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's only old ladies and old men and me.
and you, some random French guy. Has your daughter ever been to France? Have you taken a?
Yeah, she's going to France every summer holidays. So we spend 1 month or sometimes one month and a half.
Mm-hmm. And what do you know how she feels about her culture shock being in France compared to China?
She's not so shocked. That's funny, and I think she's more getting used than my wife, for example, or me, and that's crazy because my wife used to live 5 years in France.
I think kids adapt very quickly.
Yeah,
they can change very easily. Like.
And she's got a French passport, I'm guessing?
Yes, she's got a French passport, but she's considered as Chinese also.
So she's an international 3-year-old. That's cool.
It's a bit complicated because she's got French passport, but she's also considered as Chinese because her mother is Chinese and she was born here. So because there was a lot of story divorce, and so maybe there's some parents they leave China for years and they take the kids and it's not normal.
Yeah.
So when you want to leave the country, you need to make a document also, even if she has French passport to leave the country, because of this.
Does she have a dual nationality?
No, because it doesn't exist.
Chinese can't be dual national. But like my current boss, his daughter was born in America, and what he's done, I guess it's very similar to you. She has an American passport, but they have like a.
And he's Chinese.
He's Chinese, yeah. He's from Yangzhou, and he has it's almost like a paper passport, which is like the Chinese ID as well. And I guess it's something quite similar to what you're talking about.
It's the same. I think it's the same.
It's not technically dual national, but the Chinese like to hold on to their own people. So they're like, you're Chinese, and we'll ignore the fact she has another passport.
But you still get time in China and France. You want her to be kind of culturally both.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel for any country like that, like France is not better than China. China is not better than France.
We're all just people of the world.
Yeah, and maybe people could think even if it was bad 20 years ago like that, but now come on, how can you think France is better than China? Or we are all different systems.
People like to give it a label. People like labels.
Yeah.
I'm French, I'm Chinese, and then that can be hard for some biracial children. What am I? So have you thought about that at all, or am I bringing on some stuff that's too deep?
Actually, I didn't think about it before doing it, but once she was born, now I see sometimes at school and even when we go out, she's not considered as Chinese.
Because you said she looks
like Western, and so she will never be considered as Chinese, even if she speaks perfectly Chinese and she has natives.
It's true.
People always say she's not Chinese. It's a difference between West and China. That's a difference.
I'm guessing your wife speaks French.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my wife can be in France, and she would be considered as French. Like a lot of people, we've got a lot of immigrants.
Yeah.
Right, and they look different, but they're not.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
Europe, though, right? That's all of Europe.
Right.
No one looks
When you cross somebody in London, is black, Chinese, or any, you talk to him in English. We talk to them in France.
Yeah.
We expect them to be native in the country.
Yeah.
And here, if you see a white or a black, you don't talk to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't talk to him in Chinese.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not.
But sometimes it gets confusing. You see a Chinese-looking person and they speak Russian.
That's also true. Yeah. My favorite experience was I was taking 2 new teachers to dinner, and one was an American, but an Asian American, who looked Chinese, but she doesn't speak Chinese. She was just Chinese looking, and the other was a Korean. So again, Asian looking, but doesn't speak
Both
Chinese.
ni haos don't work.
So we go to dinner, and the waitress ignores me completely, starts speaking to both of them who don't speak any Chinese, and I reply
And then
to the
you're
waitress.
like, Fuyan?
I reply to the waitress, and she looks at me like surprised, and then still continues talking to the two Asian-looking people.
She's like, I recognize you.
You said something in Chinese, but can you translate for me?
And that's the interesting thing about China. It's so Chinese, you know, like you in the West, you see people of all different races and backgrounds, and you just automatically assume they are French or American or British. But in China, you assume they're Chinese.
Of course. Because they didn't have immigration, of course. We are the first generation of immigrants.
Yeah,
We have
the
to
country was closed, right?
We have to consider it. We are the first immigrants. We have not Marco Polo, but but you know, like we are not mass immigration.
Yeah.
But like a lot of immigrants, it's like maybe 20 years, maybe 10 years, not even 20.
I think the
years.
country opened in I want to say 80s, but I might be wrong there. But it was closed for a long time.
Yeah,
it didn't accept anybody.
It opened with Deng Xiaoping, in the 80s.
Yeah.
They invented
Early
pinyin for
80s.
Americans that were coming over here, didn't they? Because before they didn't have pinyin in schools until.
Well, they had a different system of pinyin, which was terrible. Which is why we say Peking instead of Beijing, and Qingdao has a TS instead of a Q.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult because about this race thing, it's difficult in China because you'll never, even if you speak perfectly Chinese, you'll never be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to accept it. It's not judging it, you know. It's completely.
Yeah, you'll never be. There'll always be someone who's surprised you can speak Chinese, and
Someone taking photos.
Even if you can't speak Chinese, even if you know ni hao, they'll be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
your Chinese is so good.
yeah. And then you're like, what?
Boost the confidence, though. It's like,
It's false confidence though, because it's just
Yeah.
hello.
And yeah, it is. I mean, Chinese is a super foreign language in every sense of the word.
then you got all the dialects here as well.
Yeah.
Also true. You can be very good at Chinese and then go to somewhere where they don't speak Mandarin, Putonghua.
Yeah.
They just speak their local dialect.
That's crazy.
Is there any? France is also old. Is there any French dialects? Is there different French languages?
Yes, but the difference between China is, I think in the 15th century, the king decided to forbid it. So if you were speaking any dialect, you were going to jail.
Wow.
So after a few years, everybody was
Everyone's like-
speaking French perfectly.
Okay.
So and they didn't do it in China, so you know.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't do it. Fortunately.
Wow, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah. But so now there's few dialects in Corsica, in Brittany, and
And
Basque Country.
Corsica, you said it's an island, so it's obviously a bit closed off, or not closed off, but separate from the mainland.
Yeah.
Is there a French stigma towards Corsicans?
And vice versa. Do you have a stigma against mainlanders?
More, even more.
Really?
First, there's a lot of cliché about Corsican people, like we should be like tough, violent.
Corsicans should be tough.
Corsican, like there's a lot of mafia in Corsica also, like in Sicilia, and
So there's that like kind of bridge sort of with Italian culture in that sense, because it's near Italy.
Yeah, it's near Italy. It's closer to Italy than France. Like, for example, there's a lot of Corsican mafia, of course, like all casinos in Paris. We don't say casino, it's just a place you play cards. They are all run by Corsican people. Even in Africa, they are all run by Corsican people. In Marseille, all bars with girls are run by Corsican people. In Paris also, and so
So there are a lot of stereotypes
Yeah.
about you guys.
So
you're tougher, more
Violent.
mafia related.
Yeah, it's kind of things like that, and lazy also.
And
lazier than
Even lazier
than the mainlanders.
You're the laziest French. Wow.
No wonder we started this podcast so late.
It's like,
You had your 7-hour dinner and you had to go beat up some.
and we say we have also cliche about mainland, like they are arrogant. Well, everybody say that, so
Yeah.
might be true maybe. Yeah.
I mean, my experience in France was it's a beautiful place. The only like drawbacks would be talking to people in Paris.
Is there a
native Paris people have an arrogance to them.
I've heard the Parisian kind of there's like Japanese people that come over to Paris thinking it's this romantic paradise, and then they get yelled at by a Parisian waiter.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they go into shock. Like I thought everything Paris syndrome. That's a thing.
Yeah.
And is that so Parisians, are they're different, yeah? Or some, not all, of course.
My experience, I went to the south of France, and the people there were much friendlier and like welcoming. But then in Paris, nobody wants to talk to you. No one wants to help.
Well, it's like Hawaii, you know.
Paris became so stressing, and after 2015, it's even worse. After terrorist attacks, people are so individualist now. They are scared to go out. It's been a big shock. Like we were the more open country to anything, to free love, free everything, and we thought everybody loved us, like everybody wanted to be like us, and surprise, somebody attacked us and killed many people. Like we are bad people, and people didn't understand. People think a lot about what's going on,
So, yeah, modern.
Were you in France during the terrorist attacks, or any of the terrorist attacks that have happened in 2015? You would have been here, right?
I was already here.
Yeah.
I was already here. Yeah, but it was still a big shock. I was also crying, of course, because we thought it could happen, but it was a big shock. It was like September 11 for you. Mm-hmm. Like I was in London when there was terrorist attack.
The metro thing?
In 2004. No, in 2006 or 7 or
the
train bombings,
or the bus.
I was in the bus, but they're in the bus. Yeah, and it's a bit different because in London the day after, everybody was going back to work.
Yeah.
In London.
Yeah, and I think English for that are tougher than French.
I mean, that's
a
part of what you're talking about, the historic
keep calm,
culture,
carry on.
Yeah, the World War II kind of attitude of just continue with your day-to-day life, even though bombs are everywhere. Don't
recognize. Just keep going.
It's also
recognize and keep going.
It's also
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think
life
it's
goes
also
on.
Religion. Because you think you're Protestant, you think okay, it's destiny. Something happened, keep going. And we Catholic, we think
it's a guilt thing, right? What did I do?
What did we do?
Yeah.
So we are still thinking, what did we do bad? It's still it's crazy for you. You don't think like that.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah,
So yeah, it's a big trauma in Paris now.
Still today, to this day, years later.
I mean, it's only 4 years later. It's not a huge amount of time.
But it's still fresh. And when a culture has that long of a history, something that happens 4 or 5 years ago is still very in the...
I mean, like he said, like they still want to have a revolution, and that happened centuries ago. So yeah, 4 years is nothing.
And it's like, I'm not so much liberal. I'm old-fashioned, but we used to accept a lot of immigration. We were cool about that, and now something changed. Something's broken, and I think maybe it's gonna be against riots in France soon. In like suburbs, like it was in 2005.
More riots.
Yeah, because we used to accept.
So it's not the you're talking about yellow vest.
Yellow vests were almost all white people from the countryside. There was not.
So it was more of a blue collar protest.
Blue collar protest, yeah, completely.
And so you think it's ramping up or it's headed down?
Now it's heading down, but we should be careful because
anything can set it off again.
Yeah, because in April, May, people like to demonstrate in France, so it could be.
Because the weather's nice.
Yeah.
So the sun's out, winter's over.
Yeah, of course.
Time to go out.
16 weekends in a row, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 16 weekends. Yeah.
Right, and they protest on the weekend.
Yeah, because
They go to work.
Why? Yeah, because we used to 20 years ago. They used to protest all the week to block the country during 2 weeks every day. But now they have to work. They don't have
It's
money
not
anymore.
practical.
Yeah, that's how you can tell who is protesting, because these people have to work to put food on the table.
Right, people in America like to say the protesters, well, they're protesting because they don't have a job. Well, no, it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at what day of the week it is before you know.
People don't look at the facts.
Yeah.
It's a very nuanced issue, and the media likes to portray it as a very singular kind of...
white and black situation.
Yeah, white and black.
It's completely different. I used to live in England. I know a bit. Okay, I'm not English, but like for example, charity in England, you give a lot more to charities than French. You give a lot more money to charity for, I don't know, kids, sick kids, or and we give less, but we have more tax and subsidies for poor people. We say state should do it.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Probably give so much because so much is taxed, so we have to keep giving more to make it definite.
That's true. I mean, like we have like yearly TV shows, like Children in Need is one, and Red Nose Day is another. These are two big yearly events where it's just a pledge drive on TV where they just raise millions and millions for different charities and stuff
We
like
have Live Aid as well.
that. Live Aid. You walk down any high street in any city in the UK and you're going to find a shop we call a charity shop, which is where you take your unwanted items and then they sell them and the money goes to charities. I've never seen that in any other country. Yeah. China hates second-hand things. They would just, throw that. But like, I don't know any other country that has these kind of. Well, I mean, America has a thrift store. I guess that's kind of the same. But I don't know where the profits of a thrift store goes. Spencer, would you?
The Red Cross,
Okay.
or the Salvation Army.
Okay, so it's a similar situation as a thrift store.
Yeah, you sell things that people don't want and give it to people that need it.
Yeah.
And a lot of charities have their flaws. A lot of charities are totally bogus, and they get mixed in with the charities that are actually good. So it's like in America, people have some sort of hesitation to giving money sometimes, but you just
It's not a
you
part
gotta
of the
know
American
who
dream,
you
though.
gotta know who to give to.
The American dream is to work hard and create your own kingdom, right? Like your own nuclear family and kingdom in your house.
Right, that was
Giving to charity is not really a part of that.
and that stems from like the old way of life in America, which is not necessarily old, but in the 50s and 60s it was a lot easier to live.
Yeah.
You have a normal job and you can have a great life. You can have a boat, you can have a car and a house.
Depending on your race and class. But yeah.
Right, I'm talking middle America.
Yeah.
Whether you're black or white or Asian or whatever. If you had a decent job in that time, you could have a great life. It's not so much the case anymore. There's a lot more disparity. Is that right?
I don't know. I think
I'm not an expert, but
I would say it's probably more diverse now than it was then.
right, definitely more diverse, but just the outcome is different.
Yeah,
I'd say.
for sure.
Even in America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
It's like I heard there's 20 million people on food stamps.
right. There's there's people that need it, and there's people that don't want to work, and that's where all of the
It surprised me
shit
how many
throwing
people
starts.
in the UK also on the equivalent of food stamps, and there are like a surprising amount. Like the UK, you don't imagine
I'd
it's
say
a poor country, but there are so many people there.
I'd say America's uber capitalist. So people when people don't want to pay extra taxes for others,
Yeah.
and that's just inbred,
I'm gonna tell you a stat about France. Like half of the population earn less than, we're gonna talk in dollars, $2,000
a month.
a month.
Half of the population earned less than $2,000 a month.
So
That's very low, right?
that's really low.
But they still have a comfortable life, or
less
or
and
not
less.
comfortable?
Less and less.
Oh, less and less.
That's
It's an expensive country, friends.
Yeah, in Paris is expensive. Other cities it's okay, but it's like we like equality. That's why we like the kind of benefits, taxes. It used to be okay. Now we are more influenced by liberalism and so on, and we think, okay, if you are good, you have to be billionaire, or you can be billionaire. It's okay. We are not like that. We think we have to be. There shouldn't be a big gap between richest and poorer.
Yeah.
It's not we hate rich. It's not it's a difference, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. Like the UK has a lot of these benefits and things for lower class and working class families, and they're very important for a lot of people because they can't survive without them. But what you said about 2000, I don't know the statistics for the UK, but probably a big percentage of the UK also get less than $2,000 a month. I'm not sure exactly what percentage, but
And France is a smaller, spatially, geographically, it's a smaller place. In America, it's so hard to
what's the
speak
population of
in
France?
65 million.
65 million.
Okay.
America's about over 300 million, maybe 330, 350. So it's harder for people to speak politically in a general way. It's more black and white. Like, I'm from here, so I believe this, and you're from there, 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away, and you believe that. So it leads to a lot of negativity
the red and blue states.
Yeah, it's a lot of tribalism, and it gets a little mushy and stuff. Whereas in France, it's more centralized, and people can speak in a more focused way. I think. I don't know.
It's like there was for me your last election. Nothing about saying it's good or bad, but people were really pissed off, and so they elected Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's
and I understand
crisis.
that.
I mean,
people hated Hillary, so whatever. Vote for Trump. Who cares? The life will go on. Trump will die. Trump will not get reelected or get reelected. But in 20 years,
Yep, definitely
it doesn't
one of those
matter.
Two. It's definitely one of those.
Right? But people think so. People think so, like right now. They don't think about the past or the future. They think right now. And I like to think, I'm not a huge Trump fan, but I know that he's not going to be the king, He's not going to be there for 50 years.
Yeah.
Things will change, whether you like it or not. I'm not a huge fan of Trump, and he was a big change in our society and culture and what have you, political sphere. But I know that it will change again. That's why we have term limits. So, and people didn't like Obama. Obama's not the king either.
And it's impossible in France to elect a billionaire, for example. It would be impossible.
That's what I thought.
Does Trump count as a billionaire? He's a millionaire. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a game show host.
Yeah.
He was given his first million from his dad, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been bankrupt numerous times, so I don't know if he's a billionaire.
But that's what happened. I was actually, I was like annoyed that he won, but I also realized there's not like this cabal of guys behind closed doors smoking cigars like this will be the new president.
Yeah.
I found that maybe this does work. People vote for who they want.
Unless that's what they want you to think.
It's a double bluff.
Trump is the cigar.
Yeah.
It's what happened with Macron. He's nobody. He's nobody. He was like working for a bank. He earned like in his life something like $3 million. Come on, it's nothing.
Yeah.
To be president.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have enough vocabulary, but it's like a puppet of billionaires. They put him. He's nice. He speaks well. He
Dresses
looks
well. Yeah.
And he's young, and he knows a bit of economics, but he's not the king at all. There's plenty of businessmen better than him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, I'm not very big on politics, but, he's been elected, but, who paid for the election campaigns?
Yeah, of course.
Are they not to blame? What about the other people that, behind closed doors that say yes to the decisions he makes.
Billionaires, all his friends are billionaires.
It benefits other people, like, and other people that are kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
And problem is, he was electing on first round with 20% of votes, 25, 20 something. So he goes to the second round, and only 25% of people voting choose him. So it means it's like 12% of French people,
Of the actual people,
voted for him, and he's president.
Yeah.
There's something wrong in our system now.
This is what the whole Brexit situation, like the numbers, if you count population-wise of people that could vote, that it's not more people who wanted to leave the European Union. It's more people didn't vote. Like,
You pro-Brexit or anti?
anti.
That seems to be the...
I think anyone who's outside of the UK you're not going to find anyone who's travelled under the age of 45 that thinks leaving the European Union is a good idea.
Right. Well, in simple, just black and white, I would think it would be in Britain's best interest to kind of stay in the club.
A lot of people would agree with you.
And
a lot of people say that.
that's speaking from zero. Fuck, that's like from... I have zero fucking... what do you call it?
Intelligence.
Yeah. Well, is that a French word?
No, it's intelligence.
Intelligence.
No, I have no dog in the fight. Is what I want to say. I don't care.
No, but it's the same with the Trump situation. British people didn't really care if Trump was or wasn't president, but they would say, "Nah, he's probably not the best choice."
Right, but you guys are speaking from a more historical standpoint. You have a longer history, longer country, to where you guys, I think, realize more. It's just it's a piss in the wind. You know, it's gonna happen. Things will
I
change.
think people have a better view of something when they're not so close to it. So we can judge Trump better, maybe because we're not so
Outside looking in.
Yeah, we're not so affected by it. And same with everyone else looking at the Brexit situation. They look into the UK and like, nah, it's not a good idea.
But
I think UK will be all right, by the way, and I think France should leave also. You know, because this European Union.
You want a Frexit? No,
a Frexit, yeah.
Fraxit.
The problem is, I'm not against union. I'm against this European Union.
Yeah.
It's like, and
It's not a perfect situation.
it's completely, they make laws with it's not really democracy when you think about it. It's like it's like many countries decide for you at the end. You can take decision with 27 countries.
it's not in your hands.
No.
I mean, who leaves the European Union, and why do the countries in the European Union get to vote on who's in control of the European Union? Like, you vote for your leader, but you don't vote for anything that happens.
And you vote for parliament. You don't vote for commissioner, and commissioner have more power than parliament.
Yeah.
It's completely crazy. So they have to change European Union, or it's gonna collapse.
What do you think about the France being in the euro, as in the currency?
It was really bad for us. But it helped a lot East Europe.
Do French people use euros, or are they still using the francs?
We use euro. And I used to live, as I told your friend, I used to live before euro, and we were living better. Even if we didn't have smartphone, we didn't have all these things, but we were living better. We could pay our rent, we could pay our everything. It was okay. Even poor people.
Everything's more centralized.
Yeah, and now we have figures about that. Like richest got richest since European Union, and poorer got poorer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you think that would have not happened with the franc? Do you think that was not possible, or like it was inevitable? Franc or euro, that would have happened, the wealth gap?
It wouldn't happen because we definitely, with our system, we would vote against it. We would control more. But you can't control European Union. You can't control open of the borders. Like now you can you are Renault, you make cars, you open a factory in Poland. You cut jobs in France and you make in Poland. You know these kind of things. It was not so easy before Euro. It was not so.
Yeah.
For rich people, it's good when you have stocks. When you you earn money, but
I mean, the UK wasn't affected so much by the European Union because we we basically had asterisks next to every rule because we're an island, so we control our own borders. We didn't join the euro currency. We don't do this. We don't do that. We don't do that. So like we're in the European Union, but we were never really that in the European Union anyway. Whereas France, you're basically the European Union. You and Germany.
You know what the most tricky part is now? Our French national leaders, when there's a problem, they say, "Oh, it's not our fault. It's European Union."
Blame someone else.
And you can change European Union, so it means people have no power anymore.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
It's true. This is a bummer. Let's bring the topic up.
Yeah. Well, back to Descartes. We think, therefore we are a podcast, even if nobody's listening.
We think they're listening, therefore they are.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you, Toni, for coming.
Oh, thanks guys.
It was an excellent chat.
Well, good pleasure.
And we appreciate all the insight. It was really good. I think it was a success.
Thanks, guys.
And damn, your English is great.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little worried. Every time I see you, I'm at the bar and I'm slurring my words. So.
Yeah, but you know the problem is every time I see you, I spend hours talking Chinese or French, and I'm coming to the bar and oh my god, I lost my English again.
now I got to speak to this guy
in a third language, and I'm drunk.
Now I got to record it. But anyways, it was a great chat. Thanks for coming, Toni.
Thank you.
We had a great time.